Imagine you're a soldier in World War II, holding an 8-pound rifle that can hit a target maybe 300 yards away if you're really good, and the conditions are perfect. Now imagine that same soldier getting dropped into a modern battlefield where the enemy infantryman is carrying a weapon that can lock onto targets through walls, adjust for wind and distance automatically, and connect to a network that shows him exactly where you are at all times. That's not science fiction. That's the absolutely insane gap we're talking about today. And trust me, by the time we're done here, you're going to be blown away by just how dramatically warfare has evolved in less than a century. Let's start with what made World War II infantry rifles such game changers for their time. The iconic American M1 Garand, the German Kar 98K, the Soviet M1 Garand. These weren't just weapons, they were the backbone of every army on Earth. The M1 Garand was revolutionary because it was semi-automatic, meaning you could fire 8 rounds as fast as you could pull the trigger without manually working a bolt between each shot. That was huge. Before that, most armies relied on bolt-action rifles where you had to physically chamber each round. And in the chaos of combat, those extra seconds could mean the difference between life and death. The Garand could fire at an effective rate of about 40 to 50 rounds per minute in the hands of a trained soldier, and it was accurate out to about 400 yards for most troops, maybe 500 for your sharpshooters. The rifle weighed just under 10 pounds loaded, used .36 Springfield cartridges that packed serious punch, and General Patton himself called it the greatest battle implement ever devised. High praise, right? But here's the thing about these rifles that we need to understand. They were completely mechanical. No electronics whatsoever. Your accuracy depended entirely on your training, your eyesight, your ability to judge distance, compensate for wind, account for the drop of the bullet over distance, and keep steady under the most stressful conditions imaginable. If you needed to hit a target 500 yards away, you had to estimate that distance, remember your training about how many clicks to adjust your sights, hold your breath, squeeze the trigger smoothly, and hope everything came together. Oh, and you had to do all of this while people were actively trying to kill you. No pressure. Picture a typical World War II battle scenario. You're dug into a trench somewhere in France, 1944. Through the smoke and chaos, you spot enemy movement, maybe 400 yards out. You raise your Garand, try to steady your breathing. Line up your iron sights on where you think the target is. Account for the fact that your bullet is going to drop several feet over that distance, and fire. Maybe you hit, maybe you don't. You probably don't even know because visibility is terrible. Your target might have moved and you're already looking for the next threat. Your rifle holds 8 rounds, and when you fire that last one, the gun automatically ejects the empty clip with that distinctive ping sound that every enemy soldier within earshot can hear, letting them know you're reloading. You fumble for a fresh clip, load it, and you're back in action. The whole process takes a few seconds if you're good, longer if you're scared or tired or cold. That was cutting-edge infantry firepower in 1945. Now let's talk about communication and awareness. That World War II soldier has basically zero situational awareness beyond what he can see with his own eyes and what his nearby buddies might yell to him over the sound of gunfire. He doesn't know where all the enemies are, he doesn't know where all his friendlies are beyond his immediate unit. He's operating with maybe 50 yards of useful awareness in good conditions, and in smoke or darkness or heavy vegetation, that drops to almost nothing. If he needs to call for support, he's got to either run back to find someone with a radio, probably a huge backpack-sized unit, or hope someone nearby can get the message passed along. It's slow, it's unreliable, and it gets people killed. The ammunition situation deserves attention too. A typical infantry soldier in World War II carried maybe 80 to 100 rounds of rifle ammunition into battle. That's 10 clips for a Garand. Sounds like a lot until you're in an actual firefight and you realize how fast you can burn through ammo when things get intense. And here's the wild part. Every single round was the same. You loaded them, you fired them, they went where physics and your skill took them. No variation, no special capabilities, just lead and copper doing their thing. Resupply was a constant challenge. If your unit got cut off or your supply lines got hit, you were scraping cartridges off dead soldiers and hoping you didn't run dry. But here's where things get absolutely crazy. Fast forward to today, and we're talking about smart weapons that would seem like literal magic to that World War II infantryman. We're living in an era where rifles aren't just rifles anymore, they're networked computer systems that happen to shoot bullets. Let me break down what modern infantry weapons can actually do, and I promise you this is going to sound like science fiction. First up, let's talk about the tracking systems. Modern smart rifles like the Tracking Point precision-guided firearms use technology that was literally developed for missile guidance systems. These weapons have built-in computers, laser rangefinders, ballistic calculators, and sensors that measure wind speed, air pressure, temperature, and even the cant angle of the weapon. When you look through the scope, you're not looking through glass, you're looking at a high-definition display. You put your targeting reticle on an enemy combatant, press a button, and the weapon locks onto that target. Now, here's where it gets insane. You don't even have to keep your crosshairs perfectly on target. The weapon tracks the target, calculates the exact ballistic solution accounting for every variable, and the trigger literally won't release the firing pin until the barrel is pointed at exactly the right spot to guarantee a hit. We're talking about systems that can enable even moderately trained shooters to make consistent kills at 800 to 1,000 yards or more. That's twice the effective range of a World War II rifle, and you don't need years of training to do it. The ammunition itself has evolved beyond recognition. We're not just shooting dumb bullets anymore. Modern smart rounds like the X-Acto, that's Extreme Accuracy Tasked Ordnance from DARPA, are literally guided projectiles. These things have optical sensors and fins that deploy mid-flight, making tiny adjustments to the bullet's trajectory to ensure it hits the target. I'm not talking about missiles here, I'm talking about bullets the size of your finger that can change direction after they've been fired. In tests, these rounds have hit moving targets at over 1,000 yards in conditions that would make traditional shooting basically impossible. The hit probability goes from maybe 30% with a conventional rifle to over 90% with smart munitions. Think about what that means in combat. Nearly every shot fired is a kill shot. Now let's get into the networking aspect, because this is what really transforms modern infantry from individual soldiers into nodes in a combat network. Today's infantry weapons can be integrated into systems like the Integrated Visual Augmentation System, or IVAS, which is basically Microsoft HoloLens technology adapted for warfare. Soldiers wearing these systems have augmented reality displays that show them real-time positions of friendly forces, known enemy positions, optimal routes, threat warnings, everything. Their weapons link directly to this network. When one soldier identifies a target, that information is instantly shared with every other soldier in the unit. The weapon system can even take targeting data from drones, satellites, or ground sensors and display it directly in the shooter's optic. You're not fighting as an individual anymore. You're fighting as part of a hive mind where everyone sees what everyone sees. Picture a modern battlefield scenario to really drive this home. You're an infantry soldier in 2025, operating in an urban environment. You're carrying an advanced rifle that weighs about the same as that M1 Garand. Maybe even a bit less because modern materials are incredible. But the similarities end there. Before you even see an enemy, your augmented reality display lights up with a threat warning. Artificial intelligence, analyzing data from a micro drone overhead, has detected movement in a building 2 blocks away. The AI has calculated that, based on the movement pattern and thermal signature, there's an 87% probability it's a hostile combatant. Your weapon system already has the range, 230 meters, and has calculated the ballistic solution accounting for the 12-mile-per-hour crosswind and temperature. You move to a position with line of sight, and your display highlights exactly where the threat is, even showing you an outline through the wall, using combined thermal and imaging data. You aim your weapon in the general direction. The smart optic takes over. Your reticle locks onto the target location, and you press the trigger. But you don't even have to hold perfectly still, because the weapon's gyroscopic sensors and fire control system wait for the microsecond when everything aligns perfectly, then releases the shot. The smart round adjusts its trajectory mid-flight, compensating for the wind gust that just kicked up and the slight movement of the target. Impact. Confirmed kill. The entire engagement took maybe 8 seconds, and you could have done it in conditions that would have made accurate shooting impossible with World War II technology. Low light. Your optic has night vision and thermal capabilities. Bad weather? Your sensors cut through it. Moving target? The tracking system handles it. Long range? The ballistic computer removes the guesswork. And that's not even the craziest part. Your ammunition options are absolutely wild. You can load programmable rounds that are set to airburst at specific distances, essentially turning your rifle into a miniature grenade launcher that can drop explosives on targets hiding behind cover. See an enemy ducked behind a wall? No problem. Range to target is 90 meters. The wall is 70 meters. Program your round to travel 85 meters and detonate 5 meters past the wall, raining shrapnel down on the target. They're not safe behind cover anymore. Some experimental systems are even working on rounds that can be redirected after firing. Missed your first shot? Some systems are being developed that would let you guide follow-up rounds using your optic. That sounds absolutely insane, but we're already testing this technology. Let's talk numbers, because the statistical differences are mind-blowing. A highly trained World War II rifleman might have a first-shot hit probability of maybe 50% at 300 yards under good conditions. With modern smart weapon systems, we're looking at hit probabilities above 90% at twice that range for average soldiers. The time to acquire and engage a target drops from potentially minutes, as the World War II soldier tried to spot, range, and set up his shot to just seconds, with modern systems that do all the math instantly. The amount of ammunition wasted drops dramatically because nearly every shot counts. Where a World War II unit might fire hundreds of rounds to neutralize a target, a modern unit might need 5 or 10 shots total. The lethality has increased exponentially too. Modern rifle rounds are designed with terminal ballistics in mind, fragmenting or expanding on impact to maximize damage, and they're moving faster with better accuracy. But beyond the rounds themselves, the ability to hit what you're aiming at consistently means combat effectiveness goes through the roof. Studies have shown that in World War II, it took somewhere between 10,000 to 50,000 rounds fired for every enemy casualty. That's not a typo. Most shots missed by a mile because combat is chaotic and scary. With modern smart weapons and training, some estimates suggest this could drop to under 1,000 rounds per casualty, maybe even lower. We're talking about a 50-fold increase in efficiency. The strategic implications of this technology are staggering. Think about what this means for how wars are fought. In World War II, infantry tactics relied on mass. You needed lots of soldiers putting lots of rounds downrange because most of them were going to miss. Suppressive fire was a huge part of combat, just shooting in the general direction of the enemy to keep their heads down. With smart weapons, you need fewer soldiers because each one is exponentially more effective. A single squad with smart weapons and networked systems can control an area that would have required a platoon or even a company in World War II. The force multiplication is absolutely incredible, but it also changes the calculus of warfare in darker ways. When every shot is a potential kill shot, when soldiers can engage targets they can't even directly see, when combat happens at ranges where the enemy is barely visible, warfare becomes more impersonal, but also more lethal. There's less room for warning shots, for suppression, for anything other than lethal force. The speed of combat accelerates too. Engagements that might have lasted hours in World War II could be over in minutes with modern weapons. Targets are identified, engaged, and neutralized so quickly that the traditional back and forth of infantry combat gets compressed into brief, incredibly violent exchanges. Real-world development of these systems is happening right now. The U.S. military has been testing and fielding various smart weapon systems for years. The Next Generation Squad Weapon Program is developing rifles with integrated fire control systems that include laser rangefinders, ballistic computers, and network connectivity. Other nations aren't sitting idle either. China, Russia, Israel, and several European countries are all developing similar technologies. We're in an arms race for smart weapon systems, and what's available now is probably already outdated compared to what's in classified development programs. The cost factor is worth mentioning because it highlights how much warfare has changed. An M1 Garand in World War II cost the government about $85 to produce, which is maybe $1,200 in today's money. A modern smart weapon system can run anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000 or more, depending on the sophistication. That's a massive increase. But here's the thing, when you factor in the reduced ammunition expenditure, the increased effectiveness, meaning you need fewer soldiers, the reduced training time because the weapon does so much of the work, and the strategic advantages, the return on investment is actually pretty solid. Modern militaries are willing to pay the premium because the capability gap is so enormous that there's really no choice. Show up to a modern battlefield with World War II technology and you're not fighting a battle, you're committing suicide. The human element has shifted dramatically too. That World War II rifleman was a craftsman. He needed to know his weapon inside and out, understand ballistics instinctively, be able to estimate ranges and wind just by looking and feeling. Years of training went into making a truly effective rifleman. Today, that expertise is increasingly built into the weapon itself. A soldier with a few months of training using a smart weapon system can outshoot a World War II marksman with years of experience because the technology compensates for so much. This democratization of lethality is both impressive and kind of terrifying. It lowers the skill floor dramatically while raising the skill ceiling even higher for those who truly master the systems. We're also seeing the lines blur between different types of weapons. A modern infantry rifle with the right ammunition and optics can function as a designated marksman rifle, a close-quarters weapon, and even fill anti-personnel artillery roles with airburst rounds. That versatility was unthinkable in World War II, where weapons were much more specialized. You had your rifle for general combat. You needed a separate submachine gun for close quarters. You needed dedicated snipers with special rifles for long-range work. And you needed machine guns for suppression and area denial. Now, one weapon system with smart technology and modular ammunition can do multiple jobs depending on what's needed. The integration with other battlefield systems is the final piece that really shows how far we've come. Modern infantry weapons don't operate in isolation. They're part of a broader network that includes drones providing overhead reconnaissance, ground sensors detecting movement and mapping the battlefield, communication systems sharing real-time intelligence, and command and control systems coordinating all of it. When a soldier fires his weapon, the data from that engagement, where, when, what type of target, result of the engagement, gets fed back into the network. Artificial intelligence analyzes patterns, predicts enemy movements, and suggests tactics in real time. We've moved from individual soldiers making isolated decisions based on extremely limited information to a networked force where information flows instantly and decisions can be made with unprecedented awareness of the battlefield. So where does all this leave us? We've gone from bolt action and early semi-automatic rifles that required immense skill to use effectively, fired dumb bullets that went where physics took them, and left soldiers operating basically blind beyond their immediate line of sight, to smart weapon systems with computerized fire control, guided ammunition, and integration into networks that provide godlike awareness of the battlefield. The gulf between World War II infantry rifles and modern smart weapons isn't just technological, it's philosophical. We've fundamentally changed what it means to be an infantry soldier and how ground combat works. A platoon of World War II infantry dropped onto a modern battlefield against modern forces wouldn't stand a chance. They'd be identified, targeted, and eliminated before they even knew the enemy was there. Conversely, a single modern infantry squad with full smart weapon systems and network integration could probably hold off a much larger World War II force through sheer technological superiority, engaging targets at ranges where return fire would be ineffective, and using precision to make every shot count. This evolution isn't stopping either. We're already developing the next generation of systems. Artificial intelligence is getting better at target identification and engagement recommendations. Weapons are getting lighter and more powerful. Ammunition is becoming smarter. The network is becoming more robust and harder to disrupt. Directed energy weapons like lasers are starting to enter the picture. In another 20 or 30 years, what we consider cutting edge today will look as primitive as the M1 Garand looks to us now. The acceleration of military technology is only speeding up, and the implications for how future conflicts will be fought are profound. If you think the gap between World War II and today is massive, just wait until you see what World War III technology looks like when, and hopefully it never comes to this. But if conflicts do break out between peer nations with all of this tech fully deployed, the future of infantry combat is going to be faster, more lethal, and more dependent on technology than ever before. And honestly, that's both incredible and absolutely terrifying to think about.